Supreme Court today started hearing a bunch of petitions filed by women challenging the constitutional validity of Triple Talaq. The court said it will examine whether the practice is fundamental to Islam and whether it violates fundamental rights. I want to go first straight across to our correspondent Anusha, who covers the Supreme Court, to find out what happened. Anusha, give me a sense of what was said exactly in the Supreme Court today. What was the exact issues that were raised in the court?
So Rajdeep, today a very crucial day, day one of the hearing, and the Supreme Court did two important things. First, it laid down the questions that the court is going to adjudicate on, and very narrowly. They clarified that they are not going to rule on polygamy and other practices. In fact, they are going to limit themselves to the practice of triple talaq, talaq-e-bidat what you call, and the related practice of nikah halala. Which leads us to the second point, which is that what is the attack that this practice faces? First is an attack within the religion, that it is not a practice within Sharia, it is not a practice which is protected under the 1937 Sharia Protection Act. That's the argument that is coming from Bharatiya Muslim Mahila Andolan. And then the other points are also there, that whether it's sacramental and whether it's the contract that the Quran prescribes. So these are the two related points. Now the fourth and the most important one, which is the argument of the center, which is the argument of the victims, that is it violative of the fundamental rights of Muslim women in this country? Most importantly, Rajdeep, and I would like to bring this to the notice of our viewers, no judgment in this country, either by the Supreme Court or any other court, has laid down so far that fundamental rights are over and above the religion. So this is really a question that is going to be very important. And most importantly, a straight question to the center. Are you going to do something about it? Even if we give and say that triple talaq is illegal, what is it that the government is going to do? Is the government going to codify? What is the process under which Muslim men are going to divorce their wives? And the counsel for Tushar Mehta was clearly silent on this issue. In the coming days, center will have to do more than just a lip service. It's back to you.
Okay, day-to-day hearings that have begun today now on triple talaq. But remember, this fight over triple talaq is not just a courtroom battle. It's a much bigger battle that's on outside the court among the politicians. And the question is, will politicians end up hijacking an issue of gender rights?
The clock has turned a full circle. 32 years ago, the Supreme Court of India, in a historic judgment, placed individual rights above the Muslim personal law and granted a 69-year-old woman maintenance from her husband who had given her talaq. The Shah Bano case should have been a landmark in India's gender rights movement, but it was not to be. The government of the day, headed by Rajiv Gandhi, chose to win over Muslim votes by turning the clock back. Shah Bano's 10 years of toil was undone by an act of parliament in 1986, which limited maintenance to the short period of separation and left triple talaq untouched. The Supreme Court once again finds itself at the same crossroads. But the times have changed, the governments have changed, and politics has changed.
मुसलमान समाज में से भी ऐसे प्रबुद्ध लोग पैदा होंगे, आगे आएंगे और मुस्लिम बेटियों को उनके साथ जो गुजर रही हैं, जो बीत रही हैं, उसके खिलाफ वो खुद लड़ाई लड़ेंगे और कभी न कभी रास्ता निकालेंगे.
The Congress, reeling from its decimation in Uttar Pradesh, is cagey. Rahul Gandhi has been silent so far. So are other opposition parties. None wants to be accused of pandering to Muslim voters, but none want to see any further erosion of Hindu votes.
Triple Talaq finds no sanction under Muslim law. That being so, you cannot be unjust to 50% of your population.
Unfortunately, triple talaq for Indian parties is not about gender discrimination or women's rights, but pure politics. It would be a shame if politics is allowed to vitiate atmosphere and run roughshod over what is basically a question of individual rights and equality. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's then raise the big questions on this day which could spark off a historic court hearing in the Supreme Court. Is Triple Talaq fundamental to Islam? Is Triple Talaq a legal, religious, or is it a political issue? Has politics overshadowed gender rights in the Talaq discourse? Should Parliament have codified Muslim personal and marriage laws? Joining me now is Asauddin Owaisi, MP and President of the All India Majlis-e-Muslimin. Also joining me is GVL Narasimha Rao of the BJP. The Shama Mohammed is the spokesperson of the Congress. Arif Mohammad Khan, former Union Minister who many years ago sparked off the entire Shah Bano issue. And Rana Safi is an author who's been writing extensively on this issue. I want to come to you, Asauddin Owaisi. Let me get this straight. Is this a religious, political, or a legal issue? Today, Triple Talaq is before the court on a daily basis. Are you going to continue to argue that the court has no jurisdiction to decide over Muslim personal laws? Or are you now running, in a sense, behind civil society, a step behind civil society?
This is a religious issue, and I stand by the petition that has been filed by the All India Muslim Personal Law Board. And let me also remind you that it has become a political issue only because of the Prime Minister's utterances in public meetings and followed up by Amit Shah, Venkaiah Naidu and other BJP and the UP Chief Minister.
No, it has also become a political issue. Sorry to intervene, sir. It has also become a political issue because the All India Muslim Personal Law Board is determined, it appears, to ensure that this issue stays within the religious domain. We'll come to the BJP and the comments made by the Prime Minister in a moment. But the comments made by leaders like you also are effectively to suggest that faith is above the law. This matter will be decided as per the faith of, as you interpret it, and not by as per the law as the Supreme Court should choose to interpret it.
Well, please allow me to answer. All India Muslim Personal Law Board represents a particular body which which talks about Muslims and the personal law. And you cannot stop All India Muslim Personal Law Board from doing that. It is the NGO, and let me remind you that more than 4 crore of Muslims have given in writing to the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, which was given to Law Commission. The fifth important point which I was making to you is that society needs to be reformed. Judicial pronouncements or legislations will not change or bring reform in society. I can give you numerous examples. Take the Dowry Act we have. But I have seen with my own eyes IPS ministers attending marriages where dowry was given. And the last point, Rajdeep, is that there is empirical data which clearly shows that 76% Hindu women are divorced. And only 23% of Muslim women are divorced.
1 minute, sir. I have to turn to my fact checker. I have to turn to my fact checker, which is denying what you are saying, Mr. Owaisi. Mr. Owaisi, the fact is, this is an issue at the end of the day about gender justice.
No.
It's about gender reform. Now, if politicians fail to do it, if religious clerics fail to do it, then it will have to be done by the courts. The courts are stepping in because you failed to provide gender justice.
Are you?
The All India Muslim Personal Law Board and those who claim to stand for the community failed to do it. That's why we've reached this stage today, where Muslim women have gone to the court saying, give us justice under Article 14 and 15, right to equality.
Please, Rajdeep, Rajdeep, if you want to sit over there and sermonize me, I have stopped going to TV channels. If you want to sermonize me like other glorified anchors, please don't call us. I'll close my ears and mouth and listen to your glorious golden words. But if you have called me, please listen to me. I have a differing view from you, and I have a right to say that.
I respect your view. I respect everyone's view.
I am saying, being a Muslim, I have a right to follow my religion. My view is that based on empirical evidence, this is all. There is no evidence of Muslim women being targeted or injustice being committed. Yes, you have certain examples which everybody knows, but for that, reform has to take place. And may I suggest and remind you what has been written today by Mr. Faizan Mustafa in today's Indian Express, that a marriage in Islam is a contract. Please have conditions in it. Please incorporate conditions in the Nikah Nama that second marriage will not happen, that's acceptable. Please incorporate a condition that triple talaq will not be given. That can be done. Who's stopping you?
Who will initiate the reform? Let me get you in on that and then I'll widen it. Who will initiate the reform, Mr. Owaisi? Who's going to initiate the reform? After decades, who's going to initiate the reform? Is it the Muslim Personal Law Board?
I would request you to please, I would request you to please follow us. All India Muslim Personal Law Board has been holding Islah-e-Mashra, which is reform in the Muslim society. And there are many results. I would request you send your people to Darul Ifta where fatwas are given. I have empirical data wherein 650,000 fatwas were given on various issues, but not even 6% were on triple talaq. So why make it an issue, issue, and BJP is successful in that. They are creating an environment of hatred against Muslims. You know for a fact BJP didn't come to rescue of Bilqis Bano. BJP didn't come to rescue of all those 9 Muslim women who have been widowed who have been killed by Gaurakshak. So all this BJP talk is only crocodile tears.
I'm going to bring in GVL Narasimha Rao just to respond to that before I go to Arif Mohammad Khan and my other guests as well. But GVL Narasimha Rao, respond to what Mr. Owaisi seems to be suggesting. He seems to be suggesting that the politicization has begun with the BJP. It's the Prime Minister, Amit Shah, Venkaiah Naidu and others who time to time suddenly have remembered gender rights for the Muslim woman. And you are doing it because you see the possible benefit of votes being created, or to try and create a more liberal, inclusive image for yourself.
No, Rajdeep, who are the people who have petitioned the Honorable Supreme Court? I think most of the petitioners, rather all of them, are members of the Muslim community themselves, women from the community. And a survey carried out by the petitioners among Muslim women, over 95% or 94% said we want this practice to end. And not a day or a week passes without some horror story of triple talaq being covered in the media, in the mainstream media.
Again, I need to turn to my fact checker. Again, I need to turn to my fact checker. Yes, there are stories, but it seems interesting that these stories are suddenly emerging. Because what I can see, where Mr. Owaisi may have a point, is that this is not a widespread practice. It's not as widespread as you make it out to be, nor is it as non-existent as Mr. Owaisi is making it out to be. The truth, as always, is somewhere in between, Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao.
No, Rajdeep. No, I think if you are suggesting that we are publishing these stories in the media, look at your own publication. Look at your sister publications. They have horror stories practically every week. India Today has it on its website in magazines. So certainly these are real events. These are not manufactured stories like the media manufactures sometimes.
I'm not saying they're manufactured stories. The question is...
And this is the community itself which should have taken note of it.
Let me come to that.
Community,
Mr. Narasimha Rao, you raise a valid point.
Why are people like Owaisi standing up for...
People like Mr. Owaisi standing up for?
For such radical views. Why can't they ask for reform in their own community? The women are their sisters, their mothers, their daughters. I think why does Personal Law Board, I think every man in the community also should back women's rights.
Let me take that to Arif Mohammad Khan.
I think why have Muslim women got to knock on the doors of Supreme Court?
Let me take that to Arif Mohammad Khan. Arif Mohammad Khan, you went through the experience of the Shah Bano case. In the 1980s, a Muslim woman who wanted maintenance, the Supreme Court ruled in her favor, and then under pressure, Rajiv Gandhi's government buckled. And it eventually ended up to becoming a political issue, not an issue of law and gender rights.
That is history.
Do you fear that the same thing is happening? Is this about politics, Arif Mohammad Khan, or is it about religion?
No,
who should initiate the reform?
Please let me, I'll respond to what you have asked.
Yes.
First, even if we accept that this is a purely religious issue, this is the publication of Muslim Personal Law Board, Compendium of Islamic Laws, and in it says if in it it says that talaq, it describes 3 pronouncements of divorce in one sitting as talaq bidat. And then further it says talaq bidat is prohibited, but if a person pronounces such a talaq, it will be effective. All law books say it is bad in religion and it is good in law.
Right.
So if it is bad in religion, if it is banned, then religion is not offended. Religion is not violated. Secondly, just now mention has been made about the Muslim Personal Law Board is starting this social reform thing, Islah-e-Maashra. When they started it, when Muslim women have already gone to the court and they have said, they have decided that they will carry on this campaign and they will ask the Muslims to boycott those who pronounce 3 divorces. Now the question is that, are you hearing me?
Yes, I am.
Gone.
I am. Okay, we'll try and come back to you, but I think you raise a valid issue. Where did this reform start? And I want to come to you, Shama Mohammed, because I raised with Arif Mohammed Khan the fears of the 1980s. Like in the Shah Bano case, eventually politicians hijacked the debate. We don't know till this day where the Congress party stands on triple talaq. Does the Congress party want Parliament to decide and codify the laws, personal laws, or will the Congress party accept what the Supreme Court decides in terms of triple talaq, particularly instant triple talaq?
Rajdeep, today I'm going to talk not only as a Congress spokesperson but as a Muslim woman too. Now, we will definitely accept what the Supreme Court says on triple talaq. Triple talaq, I would like to remind this Mr. Owaisi that triple talaq is not in instant triple talaq is not in the Holy Quran. It should be done away with. All Muslim countries have done away with it. I don't know what he's talking about. Another thing, the 1937 Muslim Act should be codified. Because it's not codified, each and every Maulvi tries to decipher according to what their whims and fancies are. Number 3, this All India Muslim Personal Law Board is an NGO. Who gives them the right? The All India Muslim Personal Law Board does not represent me as a Muslim. If you come to Kerala and ask anybody on the southern part of India, who is All India Muslim Personal Law Board, they do not know. I'm not a signatory to it. He said there are 4,000 crore Muslims who have signed. No. It should be shut down. It's a regressive, patriarchal, redundant organization, and it does not represent the Muslims. We need to codify the 1937 Act. It's imperative because a lot of things in terms of maintenance, in terms of child custody, in terms of inheritance, all these things have to be codified.
We meaning Parliament?
Because it's deciphered according
Shama
to
Mohammed, we meaning Parliament? Are we saying that the politicians must eventually codify personal law? This has to be
the Muslim personal law. Yes. It has to be codified. It has to be codified.
By whom?
It's high time, because that's why we have a lot of issues. I have seen cousins getting divorced by the Parliament. Of course, it has to be codified, and we are ready for the Supreme Court judgment. Whatever it says on triple talaq, we will abide by the Supreme Court. It is the highest court of law. So it has to be codified. The 1937 Act, it is only the Muslim personal law which has not changed. If you look at the Hindu Act which has been codified,
right.
And that's done by Jawaharlal Nehru. Let's not forget about it. And at that time the Sangh was against it. The Jang Sangh was vehemently against it when we codified the Hindu. So they cannot say that they are the ones for gender justice and things like that. And if it is gender justice, Rajdeep, then we have to talk about education. We have to talk about female feticide. There are various other things for gender justice.
Can I bring in my guest who's patiently listening, Rana Safvi? As someone who's been studying, you've written a piece today on it also in the Indian Express. The question the Supreme Court is raising, is triple talaq fundamental to Muslim religion? Can triple talaq be enforced as a fundamental right? Or is the right to equality of a woman actually the fundamental right that must be decided by a court? Where do you stand? You're hearing the politicians, you're looking at this debate. As a woman, where do you stand today?
As a woman, I stand with women. The instant triple talaq, it's important to make this distinction. The instant triple talaq, where you say talaq, talaq, talaq and talaq is final, is absolutely not Islamic. It's not given in the Quran. In the Quran, there are only 2 types of talaq given. One is talaq-e-ahsan, one is talaq-e-hasan. Both of them are over a period of 3 months. This, and in between arbitration and reconciliation, so that the husband and wife, if they have problems, can go back to each other before the third talaq is pronounced after a period of 90 days. Now this talaq, which is being practiced here and in India only by actually the Hanafi sect, it's not practiced by all Muslims, is called talaq-e-bidat, as Mr. Owaisi mentioned, which means talaq of wrongful innovation. Now just see the choice of words, wrongful innovation, which means in any case it is not right. Maybe right in law, but definitely not right in religion or as far as gender equality is concerned.
So therefore, should the Supreme Court confine itself to the question of instant talaq? Is
Yes.
that the only question therefore before the Supreme Court, whether this concept of instant talaq is fundamental to Muslim religion? And in your view, it is not fundamental.
It is not fundamental, and I think it's very ironical that the first verse of the Quran that came down, that was as revealed to the Prophet, was Iqra, which means read, and we are not reading the Quran.
You're not reading the Quran, Mr. Owaisi, when it comes to the issue of instant talaq. Is there an agreement at least that the notion of instant talaq, in the way it has evolved, is fundamentally against the fundamental rights of our citizens, nor is it fundamental to Islam? Would you concede on that or not today?
Please understand that in Quran, it says that women should cover up their head. What about that? They should cover up their head or wear a hijab or a niqab or a chadar. Isn't there a clear-cut verse in Quran about that? Would you now allege that I'm a misogynist? If you talk about Quran, please understand there is this sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Muslim Personal Law Board is discouraging Muslims from pronouncing divorce to triple talaq. And the last executive committee meeting has clearly said that. And Rajdeep, please allow me to say that how does this issue come up in Supreme Court? I would respectfully disagree with the then Justice Dave, who was deciding a Hindu woman right to property who her brothers have denied. At the end of this judgment, Justice Dave converted into a PIL. And later on you have Shaira Banu going over there. Why isn't these two women spokespersons telling you that now Shaira Banu's husband is willing to take her back? Shaira Banu's husband has filed a court case saying, I want restitution of conjugal rights. Now you disagree with Personal Law Board? Fantastic, fantastic. That is a democratic right. But if you talk about Quran, then there are so many verses in Quran. Let us also talk about that. Let us talk about the Sunnah of Prophet. We are saying that it is not the right way of pronouncing divorce. I am saying empirical evidence is there. And last point, if BJP and others are so worried about Muslim women, I challenge them to give 7% reservation to Muslim women. Give them reservation.
I'll come to that.
Exclusive Muslim colleges, schools, everything.
No, GBL, Rana Safi and Shama Mohammed wanted to respond to the specific issue of Muslim women that was raised. Rana Safi wanted to respond.
Yes.
Just a minute. First,
yes,
Rana, yes.
As far as hijab is concerned, I think when many people forget that the first verse that came down.
Rajdeep.
1 minute. First, Rana Safi.
Covering the hair.
Just a minute. Let Rana Safi and I'll get you in. Everyone will get a chance. Yes.
The first verse that came down in the Quran regarding hijab was for men. It asked the men to lower their gaze and cover their modesty. The second verse was for women. Be modest, lower your gaze. Now I would say to anybody who is disturbed by my not doing hijab, please lower your gaze. Don't be distracted by my looks.
Very interestingly put. Yes, Shama Mohammed, respond now.
Can I come in, Rajdeep?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, Rajdeep, in the Quran it's not a woman has to cover her hair. It is not a must to cover her hair. She should be decently dressed is the exact verse. And if Mr. Owaisi can show me the exact verse where it says a woman has to cover her hair, then I will leave politics because it's not there. And number two, he says Shaira Banu's husband wants her back now. After going through all this, who is Shaira Banu's husband? How chauvinistic are you? Of course I've read the Quran. Just because I look modern doesn't mean I don't know my religion. I know it very well. I follow Islam. And you follow Wahhabism.
I don't care how you look.
If you're a Wahhabi, remain a Wahhabi.
I don't want to look at you.
I'm a Muslim, you're a Wahhabi.
I am saying read
you are
Surah
a Wahhabi. That's why you talk in that terms.
But
let me tell you,
then read Quran, read Surah Nisa.
I have read the whole Quran and you don't need to, hijab is not important.
I don't even want to look at any of the women. I know what Islam commands me.
And there is no triple talaq in the Holy Quran.
I will never look at any woman who's not related to me.
Can we come back?
And you're radicalized.
No, 1 minute. Can we come back to the fundamental issue of triple talaq? This is where, let's this is we want to have a considered debate on a very serious issue.
Triple Talaq is not there in the Holy Quran. It is not there in the Holy Quran.
Just a minute. Arif Muhammad Khan, is the Triple Talaq, instant Triple Talaq, fundamental to Muslim religion? Can you very, very briefly tell us where you stand on that? Is it fundamental to Muslim religion or not, as the Supreme Court has asked today?
Sir, I cannot respond in sound bites. Okay. If you don't want, I won't.
No,
but
go ahead.
Don't interrupt me. If you want me to respond, I will say what I feel like. I won't be guided by you.
Please do, sir.
We are hearing you only, mostly.
Please do, sir.
You did not let me complete earlier. I was saying that they are talking of Islahi Muashara, and they are saying that they are appealing to Muslims to boycott those who resort to triple divorce. What about the top functionaries of the Muslim Personal Law Board, who themselves have given triple divorce to their wives? Ask the chairman, ask Mr. Wali Rahmani, and start the boycott from them. If you have your top functionaries who are practicing this practice which goes totally against Quran, which goes totally against Constitution, which goes totally against fundamental rights, human rights, and this tremendous hypocrisy that you are going to ask others to boycott those who give triple divorce. And what about your top functionaries?
So as far as you are concerned, it is not fundamental to
Please, it violates every basic principle of Islam and Quran.
Okay, it violates
humanity, of compassion and justice, of fundamental rights.
Mr. Owaisi, you want to respond? The fundamental right of a woman, you're a lawyer, Mr. Owaisi. Article 14, 15 are superior in a sense to Article 25, which talks about freedom of religion. Would you concede that today equality matters more than religious rights? First is my right as an equal Indian citizen. We are a constitutional democracy. And the others are saying, particularly Arif Muhammad Khan, who says who is an Islamic scholar, that it is not fundamental to the Quran.
Yes, I know he's an expert during whatever he did. Now, please understand that you had promised me that in this debate, you will not go into the merits of the case. You said we'll have a political discussion.
I'm not going into the merits.
Now, you are turning your studios into a Supreme Court courts of law. You have gone back on your word. You have completely gone back on your word. And let me say that arguments for Muslim Personal Law Board is being done by Mr. Kapil Sibal in the court from tomorrow, day after tomorrow onwards. Yes. I still feel that even if act is passed, judicial pronouncements are made, you cannot reform society. And as far as Islahi Mashra is concerned, Mr. Arif Muhammad Khan is cut off from the reality of Muslim world. I have attended and addressed more than 100 Islahi Mashra public meetings, not only in my state, but every part of India and Maharashtra especially. So this is an ongoing work. And let me remind the Congress spokesperson, you talk about Hindu reform. It took the Parliament 2005, to make a Hindu woman co-parson in her father's property. So please let us not go into that. And I still stick to my stand that yes, a Muslim man must lower his gaze, be modest. And the Quran also says it is for women to cover themselves with hijab, niqab or a chadar. Thank you.
No, but I want to understand from you, Mr. Owaisi, before you leave us, the fact is that Hindu laws in this country have been codified. At that stage, Mr. Owaisi, that was done by politicians, that was done by Parliament. Why should that not happen then in the case of Islam? Why should the debate there be within the community and within the All India Muslim Personal Law Board? What is wrong if Parliament steps in at a moment like this? This is the political question I'm posing. You said you're not posing. That's my political question.
You are not understanding my point.
Parliament has run away from its responsibility,
listen to
which
me,
is why the courts are taking over, sir. Sir.
Yeah. Rajdeep, you have 1 crore child marriages of Hindu childs. You have an act. Has that stopped? Reform the society. And Mr. Arif Muhammad Khan or the Congress spokesperson cannot reform Muslim society. Who are the people who can bring in change? It is the personal law board, it is the scholars of Islam who can bring in change and reform the Muslim society, which they are doing it. And it will happen for sure.
You're saying they will do it, and that is the point, GVL Narasimha Rao, since Mr. Owaisi claims limited to the political issue. Why doesn't the BJP take the initiative of creating, just a minute, of creating a wider debate within Parliament? This debate could have taken place within Parliament, and thereby the BJP perhaps could have brought in an act of Parliament if necessary, could have got the codification through Parliament. You're now fighting over the Supreme, you're using the Supreme Court.
No, no, Rajdeep, any citizen of India can go to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court, Honorable Court is examining the Triple Talaq issue. For as you know, Law Commission of India, which is the advisory body on all legal reform, has already initiated some kind of a discussion or debate on Uniform Civil Code. I think if there is a wider consensus, if there are issues, and I think the government will come in much later. We have no specific agenda whatsoever. The Prime Minister's one-point agenda is Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. Whether the Beti belongs to the Hindu community, Jain, Sikh, Muslim, Christian, it doesn't matter. I think the concern for the girl child, for the woman, that is paramount importance. An Honorable Court is examining it, and Congress has no business whether to accept or reject. They are duty bound, and it is parties like the Congress which have pandered to elements like Muslim Personal Law Board and other radical elements in not allowing any reform to happen. And Shama must be ashamed of her party. She speaks now on her own. She doesn't represent the party views on this matter. Let her say it from a party platform.
Let her respond. Yes, Shama Mohammed, respond.
Rajdeep, can I come in, please?
Yes.
I want to come in.
Go ahead.
Is that the party view?
I speak for my party. My party is against Triple Talaq. My party is against Triple Talaq. I am speaking for the party. The party is against Triple Talaq. He talks about regressive. Rajdeep, one state where now Mr. Owaisi says Muslim Personal Law Board does everything for Muslims. One state in India where Muslims are economically... let me finish. Yes. I did not interfere. Where Muslims are empowered economically, educationally, financially, politically is Kerala. No appeasement has happened, and we must remind Mr. GVL that the Congress government was there in power most of the time, other than the CPI. So Muslims have been empowered completely in the state without the help of All India Muslim Personal Law Board, with the help of the Congress party, where there was no appeasement. So please do not, I am a prime example, and I come from that state, and I can tell you very clearly Muslims are doing very well in that state.
Is the Congress
so how
for
can you put anything against the Congress party?
Can you state the party position on this?
Can I therefore take a quick break? One final segment. I will get Mr. Owaisi and everyone else on this program to make their final remarks, because yes, this matter is before the Supreme Court. We do not want to prejudice what the court decides. However, we believe this is perhaps one of the most significant days for the Supreme Court as the day-to-day hearing begins. When we return, we'll return to this issue. What then really is the road ahead? Will this issue get politicized, or will this be confined to the remit of the law? The big issue that we are debating on a day when the Supreme Court has begun the big hearing on the Triple Talaq case. I want to understand whether politics will hijack what the court is attempting to do. Rana Safi, your fear is presumably that the politicians will not allow this debate to take place outside the religious domain. It will be about vote bank politics, not about gender rights.
Yes.
Why do you fear that?
As we've been hearing in the discussion, everybody's been talking about what their party did, what their party did not do, where I went and addressed, etc., etc. Nobody's talking of the common Muslim woman. It is, even if it is, and I agree with that, that the percentage of talaq itself within Muslim women is very low, and in that Triple Talaq, this instant Triple Talaq is a percentage of that. But why should even a single woman be under the sword of Damocles?
That's a good point. Why should even a single Muslim woman be under the sword of Damocles of instant Triple Talaq? I don't know if Asauddin Owaisi is still with us. But if you are, sir, why should even a single Muslim woman be under this sword of Damocles is the question being raised by Rana Safi.
And one more point.
Rajdeep, let me make quick 3 points. First point, 2002, Listen to me, quick 3 points. One is Shaira Bano case, Shamimara case of 2002, Supreme Court already said a triple talaq is not a divorce if it is not preceded with arbitration or reconciliation. Second point, do you have Domestic Violence Act 2005? Thirdly, you talk about codification. Why are we forgetting the 1986 Muslim Women Protection Act? And lastly, do not have a blinkered approach. Courts cannot reform Muslim society. And the last point is that in Kerala, there were more than 25 lakh Muslims who signed on the petition of All India Muslim Personal Law Board. I don't know in which world the Congress party is living. Maybe Anthony was right that they lost power in 2014 because of Muslim appeasement. And that is why the Congress party is now trying to become a B team of Mr. Modi.
B team of Mr. Modi, very strong words that you're using about the Congress party, but I just want to come back. Can courts then be the forum for reforming society? Will change have to come from within? Arif Mohammad Khan, a quick response. Will change have to come from within Muslim society? It cannot be imposed by the courts, is an argument which the oases of the world will make.
Sir, change always comes from within. In 1986, the Muslim Personal Law Board had created a very explosive situation. Today, they fear going to the Muslim areas because people are asking them questions, and 1986, nobody was speaking. Today, the women themselves are coming forward and fighting their own battle. Secondly, I just want to raise one question, that why Indian Muslim male should have this special privilege and unique right to turn out his wife any day he likes to do so. A Muslim girl in India grows up with the awareness that any day his husband goes mad, he can turn her out of her marital home. The number of divorces is not important. The thing which is important is that young Muslim girls grow with this awareness, and it has a very unwholesome impact on their personality.
Okay, I think we are going to leave it there. Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, Shama Mohammed, I presume that at least on this program, both the BJP and Congress have both said you will support the court, whatever verdict they take. Am I correct? 10 seconds each. You will support the verdict, GVL
No,
Narasimha
there is
Rao?
a difference, Rajdeep. No, there is a difference.
Yes, very quickly.
No, I think, Rajdeep, we have taken the government has filed an affidavit saying that this practice is actually ultra wise of constitution. So don't put us on the same plank with the Congress.
Okay.
Congress has always followed has only pandered to the radical elements,
you made that
and
point.
Supported all negative practices.
You made that point that this is about Muslim appeasement.
Shama Mohammed, can I come in?
Very quickly, 15 seconds. Will the Congress take this case down the road of Shabano, where you will succumb?
Yeah, we will be. No, we will be with the court's decision. We are against
please, sir, let the lady speak.
I would like to tell Mr. GVL in 2005. So who argued? Jaitley argued for Union Carbide. That was genocide. So what was that then? So Kapil Sibal is doing on his personal right. He has the right. So Jaitley argued for the Union Carbide. So one more thing, the amendment to the Hindu Succession Act was brought by the Congress Party in 2005.
Okay, I asked a question.
So
I presume that the Congress party, Shama Mohammed, will stick to what you have said on the program. You will also support the abolition of instant triple talaq, and we reaffirm that word instant triple talaq because that is really where the issue lies. Should courts reform society, or should society reform itself? Or should politicians be a step ahead of society? That's a further debate for another day.